thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Welcome back, everyone, for episode 338 of the Massenomics podcast, the lifting podcast about nothing, and we're back in black.
I was going to say the lifting podcast of black tees, black shorts, and left chest imprints.
And black socks.
Black socks, wow.
And black headphones and black microphones.
It was one of those nights when you pulled up tonight, I thought, did we just wear the same thing again? But we have enough clothes that have similar...
No, we wore different...
completely different items. They're
different
just
black tee, front left chest print.
Gonna have to crank up the brightness when I go to edit this video.
That's true. But we'll figure all that out in post. So 338, we've got a special guest coming up this episode, all kinds of good stuff. But first, I wanted to tell you about SPUD Inc. Check out spud-ink-straps.com. When you're there, check out the bow tie. Shoulder pain? What shoulder pain? You've got it, and SPUD Inc. can fix it. They've teamed up with Donnie Thompson to create the bow tie, so no matter if you're a lifter wanting to prevent pain and injury or a desk worker who's tired of coming home in pain after a long day at the office, we have your solution at SPUD Inc. Get bow tied at spud-ink-straps.com. And when you're there, make sure to order at least $75. That'll get you free shipping on that order. We don't have a discount code, but just make sure to tell them Massenomics sent you. And then in addition to the bow tie, get yourself some straps, wraps, elbow sleeves, and magic carpet sleds,
Belt squat
belts, all the good stuff at spud-ink-straps.com. And not only that, but this episode is also brought to you by Juggernaut AI. Head over to juggernautai.app in your browser and get signed up for the Juggernaut app. Use discount code Massenomics, and that'll save you 10% for the lifetime of that membership. It works out to being about $30 per month with our discount code getting used.
Depending on the month, is about $1 a day.
That's true. I think
February's,
that checks out.
it's slightly more expensive,
That's
but
true.
every time else, it's about $1 a day.
So for the price of a small cup of McDonald's coffee, I actually don't know what a cup of coffee would cost for McDonald's. Probably more than that.
I was going to say, I'm surprised you actually know what that
No,
costs.
I have no idea.
God, what is $1 still?
Is there
For the
is
price
the
of
double cheeseburger
for the
or
price
chicken
of
sandwich
4
$1?
quarters a day?
Yes, there you go.
I don't even think those are $1. I don't know.
Is there a dollar menu at McDonald's at all? That actually,
I don't know.
For a while, everyone had to have a dollar menu. Like that was
that
how
was
they,
the thing.
That's how you had to compete with a dollar.
I don't know.
menu.
They have like a cheap menu, but is it $1? I'm not sure it is anymore.
Yeah,
Because their other stuff's pretty damn expensive now.
I used to like to get 2 double cheeseburgers and 2 McChickens. So that was $4.
Do you remember around here when they used to have? I don't know if they did it in Aberdeen. I remember it being in Brookings where.
Yeah, the temperature.
Yes, the first
price
one
of,
was
like, the
whatever the
next
price
quarter
was.
pounder.
Yep,
Yeah.
the second quarter pounder was the price. Oh, was the
temperature at noon the day prior.
Yeah,
I think.
so which works out great because a lot of times around here it's 0 degrees. So that one was just always free, wasn't it?
I think
that was
so.
how
Yeah,
it
you
worked.
got the second one free if it was below 0 at noon the prior day.
Almost that probably sounds like a made up thing.
And also at the zoo bar in town, when on defense night, however many points the Northern State Wolves held the opposing team to, that's how many cents the drinks cost from like 7 to 9.
Did they do that a long time? I don't remember that one at all.
Yeah, I don't know. It was only for like an hour or two too.
Yeah.
And it was defense night. So if you held them to 50 points, then you drinks for 50 cents.
That's pretty good. I mean, 2 for 1s is always good too, but
Yeah.
50, okay, defense night.
Defense night, but a lot of times then it was like into roadie cups.
Yeah, they always give you the cheap cups,
Yeah.
but still it's so damn cheap.
Well,
that
it's like, yeah. And I'm sure there's minimal alcohol in
Oh,
there
yeah.
besides, but
yeah.
so Juggernaut AI.
Back to lifting.
Do make sure to don't sign up through the app though. Sign up through the browser. That's how you can use our discount code and save you that 10%. And along with the savings, you also get gains through your training. And you do Juggernaut AI does that a number of ways through the programming, through the adaptation that's coming at it. It's kind of customizable to just about anything you do. They have a power lifting program, a power building program, and several other features in the app that help you get stronger, I guess, to put it pretty simply.
You'd be a fool not to buy.
Yep.
We both use it. We both love it. And we're getting stronger every day.
That's right. So you can also get stronger with Juggernaut AI. Go over to juggernautai.app, sign up, Massenomics discount code 10% off.
Yeah.
You almost can't afford not to do it.
You cannot.
We got a lot of stuff to cover today. I did actually want to bring something back that we haven't done in a long time. And that's podcast reviews.
Oh.
We haven't read any podcast reviews for a really long time. So I went up and dug back up where we were at in the prior.
Into the mailbox where all the review letters come in.
Yes, and I finally found some, and we probably haven't read reviews in months.
I think it's a great way to start off the show then.
Right, and this is a great reminder to head over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review too. We're on the road to 500. I was just thinking it might be cool to get to 500, and if we don't talk about it, we're never going to get there.
I know. And when we get to 500,
you know what that means. Big things then, right? Yeah.
That's right.
500 is a special one. This one is from Gunner310. I like podcasts. I like this podcast. I like other podcasts too. This is a good podcast that I like, podcasts. I was on a podcast once, not this podcast, but a different podcast, but I still like this podcast. Next one's from I Want Lift Shorts, title From Western Northeast South Dakota with Love. It's always been about the things I love the most. Nothing. Apple pie, gym equipment, memes, t-shirts, hats, and absurdly placed shorts that I still can't afford. Tanner and Tommy have this uncanny ability to draw me into a 2nd to 7th place comment race on YouTube every week, as well as subconsciously forcing me to write this review. I think I love them.
Apple pies are probably $1.
They shouldn't be more than that.
That seems like the item that should be $1.
Yeah, if anything should be $1, it's that. Next one is from Lindy Royd. My favorite podcast. There's nothing like starting the day off with a fresh Massenomics podcast. The guests are always awesome, and I really enjoy Over Under. Seems like a pretty sincere podcast review right there. So next one is from Emily Joe _life coach.
Well, that sounds like a woman's name, kind of.
I'm confused by it. This is the last one for the day too. So wives won't mind it.
Oh,
my husband is all into powerlifting /strongman. We listen to Massenomics every time we road trip. Normally I have to sit through some pretty dry podcasts, but since he's turning on Massenomics, I don't actually feel the desire to burst my own eardrums. They're pretty funny, entertaining, and their content isn't dry. The guests they have are interesting to listen to, and the overrated, underrated is actually fun to listen to. Gosh, there's some real substance in some of those reviews.
It was. Kind of got all angles of the review spectrum there.
Yeah.
It was good stuff.
Kind
of missed those things.
Yeah, that's kind of a callback.
Yeah.
So get out there and leave us a review. We're on that road to 500, and we're not going to get onto the road to 500 unless you leave us a review or another review. I've always said use someone else's phone, do whatever it takes.
Make it happen.
Yeah. Now, we did have a topic in here that's been sitting in here for a number of weeks.
It has. I'm very curious.
Yeah.
I think you've let on that I shouldn't be very interested, or this
Right.
is much smaller than what I think it might be.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious what this item is.
And the topic that's been in there is primary lifts order. And on multiple occasions, I've forgotten what that was even supposed to be about.
That's how you know it's a good item. When even you put it in, you still can't remember what
the topic. I wrote it down because it was a topic in the Massenomics Discord weeks ago. There was some discussion on it one day about not starting your training with the primary lift, basically. Like if you're going into the gym, is there a purpose to go and not squat first, or not deadlift first, or not bench press first?
Right.
Kind of, that sort of thing. That was kind of the question in the discussion that we had. And first of all, I think there's almost you could almost justify just about anything with training.
Yeah, I think you could.
There's
I would maybe say like saving your primary lifts till like after like you've been there an hour and done
Right.
10 other exercises. That
Right.
might not be the best case, but outside
Right.
of that, I don't know if there really is a true best case.
Right. And I think more often than not, it makes sense for your primary lifts to be early on in the training.
I'm just excited. That's the lift I'm most
Right.
excited about. That's kind of
Right.
why I'm there. That's what I want to do.
Yeah. I did have a couple examples where in the past or even currently, I don't necessarily have the primary lift as my first lift. And one of those things would be when we all ran the Jackals programming for a long time. I always literally, because the Jackals program was a template that a bunch of us used, and it was this printed 1-page document, and the literal interpretation of it is on the deadlift day, you do front squats. Squats are listed before the deadlift.
Yep.
A lot of people in our gym did the deadlift and then the front squats. I think more people did that than not.
Yeah, I did the deadlift first still.
I think most people did that, but I always did the front squats first, and I actually really liked it. I continued to do it that way because I liked it. And in time, I eventually switched from front squats to safety squat. But I always did those before deadlift, and I always, particularly on deadlift, I liked the feeling because the front squats are also only ever 2 sets in Jackals.
That's right. Yes.
It's only ever 2 sets.
Yeah,
it's
they're
either
not
2
too
sets of
taxing.
5 or 2 sets of 3.
Don't need a ton of warm up. You're not doing a ton of working
If
weight.
the front squats were 4 sets of 8
That's
at a
way
high
different
percentage,
story.
I wouldn't have liked it so well. But I liked the 2 sets of 5 or 2 sets of 3 because by the time that I went to the deadlift, I was like, throw the plates on. Like I'm going to pull like I don't need 1 plate even really. I mean, I'll do it for maybe a couple just to, and like get the plates on. Let's get going right away.
And that is a good point because out of all the lifts, I feel like deadlift is the one that's the hardest to like get going for.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my least favorite lift.
Yeah.
It's just, it never feels great. That's something to consider.
I liked it for that person, and it is the literal interpretation of that program.
It is. You're right.
But there was a lot of things that we didn't like the hang cleans.
Yeah, we did not do hang cleans.
Yeah, actually, you'd have to go back to the old gym to the last time to see someone doing Jackals and doing the hang cleans. I think
Trying to think
the
what
original
else was in there
Massenomics gym.
that we probably didn't. There's maybe some accessories in there that we didn't quite follow exactly either. But I can't even.
I think
remember those now.
like what's the main deadlift secondary lift? Like we had a lot of people doing like RDLs. Is RDL or stiff-legged deadlifts? Is that what it calls for, or was that a Massenomics interpretation of that?
You know what? I'm pretty sure I have it saved in my phone here. I bet I could find it right now. Let's see. Yep, here we go. Okay. I think I've changed this though.
Okay.
I
That's
think
the
problem is I think
we
you
altered
kind of
it to-
bastardize it somehow.
Yeah. And we'd all kind of bastardize it in our own ways, which is funny because at the end of the day, then it does just become it is like 10 different programs.
Yeah.
It's not just one.
So this
program.
says hang clean, front squat, deadlift, bent rows, lat pull, sit-ups.
Yeah.
Is the order here.
And I did not always have bent over rows in there because they're not a favorite of mine.
Yeah.
But like on the squat day, what's the second movement
I
on
have-
squat day?
I have heavy squat, light bench, shoulder press,
Okay.
leg extension curls.
What about on the bench day? What's like
arm curls, triceps, front raises.
But like I remember you would always do like stiff-legged deadlifts.
Oh yeah, I did. You're right. No, I do RDLs.
RDLs, yeah.
Okay, it's coming back to me now. I added those in because I'm so bad at deadlifting. I have to be doing something.
When would you do
extra.
that then? After deadlifts
No.
or after squat?
I do it on squat day.
Yeah.
Yep. I do it on squat day.
But we had a
'Cause
lot.
on
We had a
deadlifts-
lot of people that did deadlift variation after the squat.
Yep. That's what I did. Because then sometimes I'd also do deficits.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. People were either doing deficits or RDLs.
I kind of forgot about that. I kind of forgot about the deficits because there was a little time in my life where I did do those.
So that's getting back to my point. That's a good example of flipping the script on order that I liked.
Yeah.
The other example I would give, this is a little less in the true spirit of that, but on a bench day, I do like doing some sort of pulling back exercise prior as part of my warm-up. I consider it more of a warm-up, but maybe slightly beyond warm-up, like maybe somewhere in between warm-up and an actual exercise, almost
almost like
closer
a light
like
accessory
the
kind of.
wedding warm up type of thing or
yeah.
whatever, but just very specifically in the sense of like a lat pull down prior to
actually benching.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I could see that too.
And I always like that.
I've
It just
never
made
done
my
that,
shoulders
but
feel better.
Yeah.
And I even as a part of my warm up now, I kind of involve that in some way or another.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my second example of that. But those are kind of iffy examples. It's not truly necessarily like, yeah, before I squat, I'm going to go like, I don't know, hit like these 3 exercises of 3x10s and 4x8s and that sort of thing.
Because I think I don't know, unless it's an injury thing. I think maybe sometimes people overestimate maybe the amount of warm up they need.
Yeah.
I've been rethinking that in my life because squats. I'm just starting to think maybe I do way too much squatting. Not as far as weight goes, but just reps before I actually get to my working sets.
Yeah.
And I've tried backing that down because I'd
If
always
you're
do
gonna-
the bar for like 10.
Yeah.
Then I do 95, 135,
Well, just
185.
like if you're so the other day you did 405 for a set of 3.
So I
what was
intentionally-
your exact warm up
So I
as you
intentionally
remember
backed it down. I intentionally backed it down, and this is what I did. So I do a bunch of like air squats. This is warm up, like
Yeah.
goblet squats. But then I usually do the bar for 8 to 10. I'll do then 95 pounds for about 8. I'll do 135 for usually about 8. I'll do 185 for about 6, 225 for like 5. And then this is when I really, this is where I backed it down. I went less. I
Yeah.
did 225 for 4. I did 275 for 2, 315 for 2, 365 for 1, and then 405 for my triple.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I still think maybe that's too much. But the lighter ones, that's not taxing at all. It purely, I just think of it as like moving
You're
the
warming
joint,
up.
moving I don't even think of it as an actual exercise under 225.
Right,
Like,
right.
Doing 8 reps at 135 is not changing my warm up at all.
Yeah.
But I also did I rode on my bicycle like 2.5 miles to the gym too.
Right.
At a pretty aggressive pace. So
And
I'm
then
getting kind of a lot
did
of
you
warm up.
do like
And then I do the Juggernaut
bird
warm up
dog,
too.
yeah.
So I'm probably getting more than what's optimal there.
I do similar. But I do less. I think. I guess if I was going to do 405 for my working weight, I would do the bar for 5. Maybe I do a few more than 5, 6, 7, 8.
Mhm.
Then 135 for 5, 185 for 5, 225 for 3.
And that's where I need to change. I think I really
Yeah.
need to change once I hit 225 is just be at like 3 or less.
and that's where I like to be. Then I'd do 275 for 3 again. Then I'd probably hit 315 for a double and 365 for probably just a single, maybe 2 if I just feel like.
the one before my
Yeah.
top set is always a single no
Yeah,
matter what.
yeah.
I just like doing a lot of squats to
Yeah.
get me like ready to squat. It's
Well, that's a lot of people's theory too. Like, there's no better warm up for a squat than squatting too, which makes I can wrap my head around that also.
yeah, and it always feels. By the time I get to the working set, it always feels good. Like I never feel like I'm tired from doing too many exercises. It's more like it just takes so damn long to go through all of those.
I would never really judge what someone else is doing in terms of warm ups. If someone can do it with almost like no warm up, I'd be like, yeah, that's maybe what I would do then.
Larry's
right.
the perfect example.
Right.
He'll like deadlifts. It's easier to just take big crazy jumps. That's not as big of a deal. But like Larry can come in and I feel like he'll put a plate on for squat, do that a few times, 2 plates, 3 plates, and then he's doing working sets. Like he didn't do the bar, he didn't do air squats, he didn't do anything. He's done like 8 reps total, and now he's into his working sets.
Right.
He's different though.
Larry Legend does just hit differently. I think, or is everyone in the Discord upset that we're talking so much about training?
Maybe it might be that, or maybe that I squat too much in my warm up.
No, wait, we're literally talking about, the buzzwords, sets and reps.
Sets and reps. Yep,
Yeah,
it's going.
yeah,
Well, we can switch that. I got a can here. We
let's
can go
get
with
back
that.
to our roots.
Okay. This isn't a what's in the can because
Okay.
we've had this one like 5 times. There still is a chance you would maybe not get it, Tanner, but we won't do a full what's in the can for this thing.
All right. You know who I don't mind as a singer?
Meatloaf?
I don't really like Meatloaf
Okay.
that much.
Let me think.
No, you're not going to guess it.
Well, it could be anyone. I mean, I could guess it. It could be anyone. Stevie Nicks.
Oh, that's actually true.
Okay.
That's very true. I like Fleetwood Mac is Rumors album.
Yeah.
I think is a sick album.
It slaps, man.
We play that at our house. Like that's hits the turntable really frequently. I
really-
saw Big Keith in Discord mentioned Judd Hughes. Yes, I would have also accepted Judd Hughes. None of this is where I was going, but
Well, it just Fleetwood Mac. It just reminded me because Chevy had like a commercial for EVs, and it was playing Fleetwood Mac. What's it? Everywhere, whatever that song is.
yeah.
And I'm like thinking, God, who is this song by? It seems
Yeah.
so modern. And then when it finally, I kind of got out of my daydream and looked at the screen, you can see Fleetwood Mac. I'm like, it sounds pretty damn modern for being a song probably from like the early 70s. Like that song's like 50 years old and it holds up pretty
like,
damn
do people
good
kind
today.
of make fun of Stevie Nicks or
I
a
don't know
little
if it's
bit?
Stevie
or not?
Nicks or I don't know. I think sometimes maybe people rag on Fleetwood Mac maybe
Okay.
a little.
I think Fleetwood Mac is good. Like,
You know, they kind of had the band had a different direction before the Stevie Nicks days.
no.
Like it was a very much more of like a kind of a heavy blues rock
Okay.
thing.
And
I don't-
see,
I
I'm
don't
not,
think there was
and
any-
when I say Fleetwood Mac is good,
You're talking like
Rumors. Yeah, it's a really good album. That's like the depth of my. It
is a
But like
classic.
every track on that album is good.
Yeah, you could find someone that says, I don't know what Fleetwood Mac is, I've never heard of them, and you could play that, and
And they'd be like,
probably
oh wait, I
half
know
the
every
words,
single
so,
one
like,
of
every
those
song-
songs.
yeah.
Yeah. But no, I was gonna say Billie Eilish. I don't mind, which would maybe be
I don't-
surprising to some people
I don't
to hear.
actually don't mind Billie Eilish either. My now at this point with her, because she's been around for what 4 or 5 years. I think she has more talent and more range than what she lets on to, because everything's kind of always in sort of this hush sort of whispery
Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
And I think she has a lot more range than what she shows. And the closest she got to that for me was on her newest album. What was that, a year ago? I can't remember what the hell the song's called. It was like the last one from the album. And she kind of goes into full on like rock mode towards
Right,
the end.
right.
And I'm like, oh, like this is cool.
Pretty
Like
good,
you're letting
yeah.
loose and this is good. I'd love to see more of this. But yeah, I think she's very talented and I don't mind her.
No, and like I've seen her on some things like maybe it's Hot Ones or a few, I don't know, maybe Saturday Night Live or something like that. And I just in every thing I saw, I remember thinking like, oh, this person doesn't, this person seems not that bad.
Yeah.
And like I don't get that vibe from a lot of people that are,
especially when you consider that now is she 19 maybe?
I don't know.
Like she handles I think she handles the fame and everything that comes with it fairly well for how young. I mean, that
Yeah.
could change any day, but yeah, I think you'd have a hard time justifying hate on her.
One other thing of note, the Detroit Lions were on Hard Knocks this year. Did you watch any of that at all?
I didn't. I wanted to. And
It's good. Hard Knocks is always
having a
is
baby
good.
like
Yeah.
that kind of busy
Right,
for a minute
right.
for me there, because I always do enjoy it. This is probably the first year in 4 years I haven't watched a single episode of it.
And Eminem was there one day at practice.
Oh, really? Yep.
Detroit, of course.
Yep.
And it just made it really highlighted how there is levels to stardom and stuff too. How like I don't know if he hardly knew any of the guys at all, like knew their name
sure.
whatsoever.
Right.
And they were all like freaking
Just
out.
stars.
Like their top players were like,
I'm sure to this day still, like when it's time to get pumped up pre-game, there's still probably Eminem songs going on in every
Yes.
NFL locker room.
yes,
You know?
because like every dude on that field was like, "Holy shit,
Yeah.
Eminem's here!"
Yeah,
like and wanted to go up and talk to him.
Yeah.
Who's the quarterback? Jared Goff.
Yep.
was like, "Holy shit, it's Eminem!"
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Jared
pretty
Goff's I'm pretty sure a former number 1 round draft pick, but I don't know if Eminem. I suppose he knows who Jared Goff is, but barely
Yeah,
is what I
probably.
took from it. You know.
Yeah, that's cool.
So just an interesting note on the levels to.
And the Lions got to win too.
Are they 1-1? All
believe so,
yeah,
yeah.
the whole NFC North is 1-1.
It is.
And football update: O'Keefe and the Buccaneers are 2-0.
Yes, they are.
O'Keefe got some good playing time again this last game.
I didn't catch that. I didn't catch their game at all, so I didn't. That's good to hear, though.
Yeah, they played the Saints, more like the Aints, if you ask me.
We did have some people shared some nice fantasy football stories in the Discord. I'm not sure if you caught any of them.
yeah.
I did take take pleasure in reading some of
How's
those.
your fantasy football team doing?
I did pretty amazing this week. I had to look because my team scored like 168 points, and I'm like, I think that's pretty good for a week. And I believe that is.
We can finally check that primary lifts order thing off.
It's gone. It's done. We've done it. I does that mean we've done everything ever on our list here?
No, there's a wedding story that's still in there
still lingering around.
but that might have to wait.
Yeah, can't rush some of these.
No.
I mean, then the podcast would be done. We covered everything then. So.
That's true. We would never have anything else to talk about here again. Should I do supporting our supporting members yet, or do we want to wait on that?
Oh, I think now's a great time.
Okay. And I haven't done it this way in a while. This certain particular type of supporting our supporting members. So, I want to shout out several supporting members. Some of the more recent additions to the club. So, Big Adrian Gluck, thank you for supporting. Big Nathaniel
and some good content.
Yeah, just pumping out good content on Gluck's gym. Big Nathaniel Stevenson, thanks for joining the crew. Big Nate Mo Strength, thanks for having Mo Strength, and thanks for being in the crew. Big Christopher Morgan, thank you for joining the Massenomics Discord crew. Big Michael Giacone, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Thank you for supporting.
I'm going to assume that's definitely right.
Yeah, that's got to be. Big Tom Ryan, thank you for having a name I can pronounce. Big,
you're like, oh, his name is just Tommy and his brother's name.
Wait, is this a practical joke? Tom Ryan? I don't know about that one. Big Brody Weinmeister. Thank you.
These beverages and driveways.
Thank you. Big Colton, thanks for supporting. Big Kurt Locker, thank you for supporting. Big Ethan. I usually don't read the last names. I don't know why I started reading the last names.
You're really giving some people some real shout outs.
I feel like that's not anonymous enough. I'm just sticking to the first names on the rest of these. Big Ethan, North Dakota guy, but recently transplanted out of North Dakota to Vermont. We won't hold that against you, though, so still thank you for supporting. Big Liz, that sounds like a woman. That's interesting. Thank you for supporting. And another big Kurt. We had a Curtis and a Kurt.
Wow.
Thank you for supporting.
Attack of the Kurts.
Yeah. That's too many Kurts, if you ask me.
We'll let them sort that one out.
Yeah. So thank you to our supporting members.
Thank you.
Did we want to do a little something to them?
Is a little something time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, this is also an interesting update. I've been doing some pretty sick yo-yo tricks at home.
Oh, have you?
You know what's
Dude,
great?
Oh, yo-yos in I feel like they
I was
really
in
hit
grade
their
school,
golden age. Yeah, when I was probably in like 4th or 5th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, that to
That's
me
right.
they were banging then.
I think that's just cyclical.
Are they coming back again?
Yeah, because Jack and a bunch of his friends, they have you.
Well, what
Jack,
grade
you
are
can't
they
get
in?
the yo-yo out of. He's in 5th grade.
Maybe it is just a 5th grade thing.
That could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
I haven't kept up with 5th
But
graders.
he's
since
constantly to my wife's sheer annoyance, never not flinging his yo-yo around.
Yeah.
And I probably haven't I haven't yo-yoed since probably 5th, 6th grade.
Yeah.
And I couldn't have ever described how to do it. But the first time I did it and try it, I could do the cat's cradle again.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I
I kind of always struggled with that one because if you start bouncing it around all weird, it gets away from you.
I had to have, because I was I was in shock. Because I couldn't even
riding a
remember
bike
that
over
I knew
here.
how to do it. I just it was just
It just popped right into your hand.
yeah.
Oh God, you're a machine on that thing. Whoa.
I know, and I was had to try it multiple times because I was do I still know how to do that? And I'm
Make that look so easy.
and it's
No one will be able to see that video. Besides
it's
me.
one of those crazy bike riding things though, or something where I'm I don't even know how to say how I did that.
I never
just
practiced that one long enough to have that quick
Yeah.
1-2 that you did there. That's
yeah.
Okay.
But which is, I guess, doing the trick is cool or whatever. But the shocking part to me, I was how do I know how to do
Did
that?
you look at your hands and go,
I was
"Oh."
that is crazy. What else can I do?
Then you went out and started doing
I'm
cartwheels.
someone quick, get me a piano.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. I can almost guarantee you I can't do that after seeing that. But
I don't think I could learn it now.
It's a
but
secret power that you just get a yo-yo in someone's hand and they start.
they're
doing
like,
things and
oh
it
yeah,
goes good.
cat's cradle, of course.
Incredible. Today's show is brought to you by Bearfoot Shoes. Most shoes harm your mobility by over-restricting your foot's natural movement. Barefoot shoes are designed with minimal restrictions so your feet can move the way they're supposed to. Move with more strength and confidence in every step. Barefoot Shoes was founded by Chris Duffin, who attributes proper foot biomechanics as foundational to his success in squatting and deadlifting over 1,000 pounds for reps. He helped create the company to provide a minimalist shoe that can be worn for anything from deadlifts to walking your dog. Go to www.barefoot.shoes to check out the best minimal shoes available. Tanner and I both have Barefoot shoes. We both rock them in the gym, and we both love them.
Barefoot shoes. They're great. Just made that up. You think that could be catchy?
Man,
It's like a bear.
You're just riffing over here.
Right.
I'm sure no one's. We should run that by them. They're probably like, "Wow, you
Yeah.
guys are incredible."
Yeah.
If you want to see how,
I don't know. Maybe that came off a little tigery. It was supposed to be bear.
growl, rawr. If you want to see how great Barefoot shoes are for yourself, head on over to barefoot.shoes. Use code Massenomics to save 10% on your order of Barefoot shoes.
And check out, I don't know if anyone in the Discord that's on right now knows or not, but I think is pre-order available on a new product they have coming out? I don't know. I don't want to spill it. I'm not sure what beans there are to spill or not spill.
Someone spilled those beans to me
Okay.
in the Discord, but
Yeah.
I don't know where they got that information from. So
I don't know how, I think it's public information, but I don't, we're so in the know that I don't know if what we know is
we'll just wait one
public
more
or private.
week.
Yeah.
So there is some beans to be spilled
Yes.
in the barefoot world one of these days here. Why am I always missing a piece of paper over here?
I could hit us up with a little something.
Okay, why don't you do that?
All right. Do you got some audio over there?
It's pumping.
This is the Strength
Oops.
Company.
Let's start over.
Coming in too
This
hot.
is the Strength Company. We've set out to build a better barbell plate on American soil. We ended up here at Wisconsin's legendary Wapaka Foundry. With over 60 years of ironworking experience, the foundry had the knowledge, technology, and processes to build our weights to our exact specifications. The Strength Company plates are slim but rugged, smooth but easy to grip, and electro-coated for durability and to look great in your gym. This is the next generation of American iron. Only available from the Strength Company.
I'll show you smooth but easy to grip.
Yeah.
We just got some new Strength Co plates this week.
I saw that. What
What do we
what
get?
did we all there?
3 more pairs of 5s, another pair of 10s, another pair of 35s.
Are these just to round out? The
Yeah,
two
just
red-
rounding out sets. And now after I have those, I realize we need 1 more set of 5s and 2 more sets of 25s.
And then are both racks matching?
They're already matching, but I just want that to have what looks to be like a more full sets to me. Like they're
Well,
already
How many 25s are on each one right now?
there's 4 on each, 2 on each side of each rack.
And you say we need how many more sets?
I would like to get 2 more sets so that there's 3 on each side of the
really?
rack.
Okay,
I just feel
okay.
like that peg
Needs-
is looking a little empty.
It does. It does.
And that's why I want another, so I want 4 more 25s, 1 for each side of each rack.
Right.
There is no time that they need to get used.
It's just
that
purely
many.
visual.
100%.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And then
I mean, that's 90% of all gyms.
then now each one has 2 sets of 2.5s, 3 sets of 5s, 3 sets of 10s, just the 2 sets of 25s where I want 3 sets, and then 6 sets of 45s, and they each now have 1 set of 35s.
All right.
So I need 1 more set of 5s to actually make it a full 3 sets on each, and then 2 more sets of 25s to make it a full 3 sets on each. Then I will feel better about that for now.
those are-
No, it serves Literally, that is purely for the way it looks.
Well, yeah. It's kind of like preserving the 25s on the inside then.
That's
because
true.
They'll probably never have to come off of there.
They really don't, because even if someone's deadlifting and pulls...
They'll find a way to come off of there. There will be a day where those two will be missing somehow.
Yeah, somehow they'll actually be
And when I
gone
say-
way over on another...
When I say there'll be a day,
Yeah.
it will be within 3 days
Yes.
of them being on that rack.
Yes.
But in theory, it seems like they should never have to
Yes.
leave there.
Oh, should we kick off the Discord?
Yeah, let's get them out of here. See you, Discord. All right, they're gone.
All right, should we get Big Jacob on the horn?
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's hope.
Good evening. Good evening. How's it going?
Big Jacob, is that you?
That's me. That's me. How's it going, guys?
Good. You're live on the Massenomics podcast with Tanner and Tommy.
What's up, Jacob?
Yes, the TNT show.
Yeah,
That's
the
right.
real TNT show.
Those those other guys are recording their podcast tonight. They're probably pissed that I'm doing yours.
They're like, Jacob, we wanted you tonight. What could you possibly have going on? And you're like, oh, just some family stuff. You wouldn't understand.
yeah, no, yeah. I just say some SD stuff.
Yeah.
They don't know the lingo.
They'd be like, they still think we're in North Dakota. New thing that we started doing. Could you give us your life story in like 2 minutes so that anyone that's listening that's not familiar with you knows a little bit about you?
I will do my best.
Sometimes we restrict it to 10 words, but we'll give you a few more than that.
10 words would be very tough.
Yeah.
Very tough. Because I've lived a unique life thus far. We'll just put it that way. All right, so here we go. Born in Pittsburgh, Texas. Raised on a farm. Started lifting when I was 14. My dad was a big lifter, kind of didn't compete, but power lifted, bodybuilded, and worked shift work his whole life. So like he would always, nights, days, cycle back and forth. He would always lift before he came home. So like that was just kind of my example growing up. Played football, basketball, track, had some college scholarship offers, had 7 concussions, couldn't play. Went to TCU, wasn't going to train at all. I was going to do a PhD in neuroscience. Ended up getting a call from a friend of mine who was a coach on the Bears, knew a guy who owned a private gym in Chicago, who's like, you can come up and train professional athletes. So it was like my, second or third flight of my life when I came to Chicago. I was like 21, 22. And I took the job, and then I've been here ever since. So I used to run that gym, trained a few Pro Bowlers for the NFL. I trained Lou Dang, who's a 2-time All-Star. I had Olympic medalist in bobsled. I had someone in, I think, pretty much every Division I national championship, even like lacrosse and rowing. And then went to work more with Lou towards the end of his career. Ended up getting close with the Barbell Brigade crew. Met Tom because I was wearing Tom Callis because I was wearing the Barbell Brigade shirt at church. Then we started.
Nice.
He was like, I know those people. I was like, oh, I know them too.
Yeah.
And it was so random. Anyway, and I didn't realize that Tom lived literally like 15, 20 minutes from me. He was so close. And I knew who he was. I just never actually met him. And anyway, we started training together. And then, he left half his body in Miami after one of those meets. And that's kind of where we started our Smart Strength, our online training. And that somewhat gets us to today.
Wow,
Somewhat.
pretty
you
good.
did really good on that because you almost answered like half of our questions right
Yeah,
now.
I don't really know what we're gonna
We're
do.
kind of scrambling
Well,
over
it was
here
nice
now.
talking to you.
Perfect. Well, we just talk about South Dakota. I mean, that's what the fans want anyway.
So, yeah, you said you grew up on a farm. What kind of farm can mean a lot of different things? Like what was the farm like you grew up on?
Sure. So during my time, we were just doing cattle,
Okay.
and then we had like maybe 2 or 3 acres for crops, but that was just for us. Like we didn't really sell it. The total land was like 90 to 100 acres, something like that. But now back in the day, they used to I'm talking long, like 150 years ago, they used to grow sugarcane because we have a creek that runs through it, and it had a mill and they could make syrup. And then at some point it switched to watermelons, and then by the time I came along, it was cows.
Okay.
So mostly cows, and my grandpa ran it, and it was at that point it was more so just kind of keeping the family legacy than it was trying to really make a lot of money off of it.
Yeah, that's cool. You have South Dakota ties of some kind too, don't you?
I do actually.
You tipped me off on this a little bit, and I was so curious about it. That's like the number one thing we got to get to is what are your South Dakota ties? Because sometimes that's kind of rare.
Well, first of all, like y'all's accents, I appreciate because it reminds me of my family.
Yep.
And like I just so my dad was an Army brat, and his dad, so my grandfather, tried to join the Navy during World War II, but he was like 15. So they wouldn't let him, and he walked down the street, joined the Army. They let him join. So he served until they kicked him out. So 35 years. And they ended up in South Dakota. That was his last place. He was an Army recruiter. And so my dad went to Gayville High School. He played for the Raiders, played football. And then they ended up, I think some of my family ended up in Yankton. And then I still have family in Pierre. One of my cousins, I remember I went to South Dakota as a kid because he was running the state track meet. And so I went up to watch him run in the state track meet. And actually that cousin's the one who still lives in South Dakota. He lives in Pierre. And I was just there this summer. I was in Black Hills. I was in Deadwood. I was in Lead. I was in Pierre. It was awesome. I had such a good time.
So you even went to
South
Pierre.
Dakota. Yeah. Oh yeah. I drove, not the highway, the 2-lane road that literally you can just go straight for like 3 hours and you go from Lead to Pierre, like direct. It's amazing.
As I say, the 2-lane highway or the one-way road that just goes for hours. That's like every road in South Dakota.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're just describing all of them, kind of. Like that distance you traveled from Lead to Pierre. Like if you kept going that general direction for that distance again, then you'd get to us, pretty much.
Oh.
So.
Well, that was my mistake. I went down to the highway to come back home. I should have just kept on going straight.
Yeah, you were halfway there. You guys had to keep going.
That is interesting, though, that you have that connection. And were you on a motorcycle trip or something like that, or?
I was.
Okay.
I got a group of guys at church. We picked somewhere every year to ride, and so we said, let's do Black Hills, but before the rally. Like we weren't going to go during the rally and do all that. We went before the rally.
I would recommend not going during the rally for sure. That's a smart choice.
Yeah, it was amazing though. I mean, you can tell how much South Dakota loves motorcyclists because the roads are like perfect. You know, everything's well marked. I mean, it's really, it's some of the best riding I've ever done. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. The riding in the Black Hills is like the coolest experience ever on a motorcycle, I think. It's tough to be rivaled by much.
No, I mean, you can do everything there. I mean, you have like needles and you have just some of the just normal roads. And I mean, I would say like in terms of like technical like riding, I think Tail the Dragon in Tennessee is probably still my favorite because it's such a technical ride, but it's not relaxing.
Right. It's like white knuckled the entire time.
Yeah, you don't want to die. Like you don't want to fall off the side of the mountain and die. Everything in South Dakota was like super relaxing to me. It was awesome. I really enjoyed it. And then we got stuck by the buffalo out there too, which was pretty cool.
Would that be like at Custer State Park or something like that, or? Yeah,
like that like wild game trail or whatever that kind of cuts through there. Yeah, we got stuck on that, and they were like, everybody's telling us like, don't rev your motorcycles, like they'll attack you. So we were all going like super slow. It was fun.
Tommy, do you know where Gayville is, or have you heard of that before?
I've heard of it.
Okay, I don't know if I've hardly heard of that before.
I think it's kind of south of Sioux Falls. Is it
is
close
it
to
by
Yankton?
Like it then? Yeah.
Yes, it is close to Yankton.
Yeah. There's just enough small towns around that it's hard to keep track of all of them.
I would like to do as much South Dakota geography in this episode as possible.
Well, Gayville, I've never been to Gayville, but my dad told me I think they played 7-man football. So it's a pretty small town.
Well, they used to. They did used to have 7-man football in South Dakota. They don't anymore. I grew up playing 9-man football at my high school.
Okay.
Half of the state plays 9-man football, and half of the state plays 11-man football. No.
So wait, so who do you drop out in 9-man football? Like, who's out?
The 2 tackles, offensive tackles.
Okay.
So you have center, guard, then, depending on your formation, possibly 1 tight end or 2 tight ends. It's really, you're called guards if you play that first offensive lineman next to the center, and then there isn't offensive tackles. And on defense, you either play a 4-2, so a 4-man front, 2 linebackers, and 2 corners and a safety, or you play a 3-3, so 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, and then 3 defensive backs.
And it's a track meet.
Yeah, and then they used to play on 90-yard fields, and those don't really exist anymore. So it's all 100-yard fields. So if you have the fastest team, you're hard to beat in 9-man football because there's that many less people on the field, and if you get the corner, it's hard to
game over.
it's hard to beat speed in 9-man football.
Yeah, no, I mean that's what I was about to say. Like, if you're running a 4-2 and you've got some like super athletic defensive ends, I mean, they're going to be up in the quarterback's face like almost instantly, right?
Right.
And with all the stuff you can do, but to the same point, then you don't have the coverage, and you can, if you got some good receivers, you can just lay it out there and be gone. That's incredible, actually. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's a different game a little bit. So I played 9-man, but coming up, we did play against some exhibition games against 11-man teams, and what you do in that case is whoever's on offense, that if you're the 11-man team, when you're on offense, you play with 11. The other team plays with 11 on defense. And if you're the 9-man team, then they have to, then you both play 9-man when you're on offense. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, like, Texas is obviously like the opposite, right? Like, my town had 3,000 people in it. We were the only school in the entire county, and our stadium had 2,000 people that would come on Fridays. Like, like 2/3 of the town and surrounding community would come to watch high school football. I mean, it's just incredible.
Yeah, our thing was there barely was bleachers even. People have probably seen this before. I don't know how common it is, but the field is lined with vehicle. Everyone parks facing the field
on the field.
just off the field. There's the teams stand on each opposing sideline, of course, but then it's a complete 360-degree circle of vehicles facing the field, and a lot of times pickups back up to it.
Yeah, or you just sit in the car and watch the game.
Right.
I went to a school that was big enough that didn't have that, but I 100% know exactly what you're talking about because we would go play at some schools that is how it was there.
Yep.
That's incredible. I mean, I'm surprised.
If the team's good, then people would not give up their spots, and they would just leave their vehicle parked in like the spot all week long to not lose their football spot.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Phenomenal, actually. Like, I wonder, did anybody ever park like a tractor?
I remember people bringing like RVs, like kind of like, cause it's like when you're like 30 or 40 and you're watching like your kids and your kids' friends and stuff, it's just like a party, so they're
tailgating
right
on the field.
Right.
Yeah, well, I mean, what else are you going to do, right? Like,
that's
true. That's it. Like, that's what it's all about. That's awesome.
That's true. You talked about your dad, how he was, real into lifting as you grew up, which is that's really cool. Have you ever seen the music video or heard it? It's Bob Couch Pump Iron at all, or maybe you've come across it on Instagram. If not, you need to check it out after this. It's pretty classic, and it just, as you talked about it, it kind of, your dad maybe reminded me of Bob Couch in the music video.
I will have to check it out. I don't know it off the top of my head. I'm sure I've seen it. Like, if
you
if
probably
I
have come across it. It's a classic.
But it just reminds me of the Pumping Iron song from the documentary. We're pumping iron.
Yes. The song is different than that one, but that's also a good song.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised that hasn't made it back into some like Instagram reels or something. That's a classic song.
The two of us, Massenomics, and you will both have to take that on and get that out there to people more.
Well, I'm just glad to meet you guys because I've heard so much about you. Tom and Tom are always talking smack about you guys and how terrible you are and how, all that. And so, like, it's just fun for me because, anytime there's this many people in my life that like intersect with somebody, it's like, I can't wait to meet them. Like, I'm always looking forward to it. So this is great.
Well, and also I think maybe before I even saw you through Tom and Smart Strength Official and all that, I'd seen you maybe on, with Silent Mike and Jim McD on their podcast, possibly.
Correct. Yeah, so I did the PowerCast back in when it was a PowerCast, 2015 or 16. Charlie Zamora actually was the one who like really pushed for me to get on there. Mark didn't know me, and he was like, "Dude, this guy's trained all these Pro Bowlers and this and that. You got to have him on." And I was in LA a lot with Luol at the time, and so I drove up to Sacramento and I did that, and then I did 50% facts. I came back. I was in California again a lot back then. And so, yeah, I was on there with Jim and Mike, and I still talk to them somewhat frequently. Like I would love, it's like a lot of your like close friends who live far away. Like you would love to talk to them more. But obviously the last couple of years have been difficult for everybody in terms of moving around and seeing people you want to see. But yeah, I love those guys so much. I've been fortunate to like meet, I think, a lot of the good guys in the fitness industry. There's obviously the other side for every industry. It doesn't matter what it is. And I've been kind of fortunate, I think, to fall into the good guys category, so to speak.
Yeah, I think you have too.
Yeah.
You mentioned
except for Tom and Tom.
Yeah, except for those dirt bags, those old pieces of shit over there. They're always copying our good ideas and
our cups.
Yeah,
cups.
we came. Yeah, I don't know if you're aware, we had come out with these silicone pint glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, maybe we had them out for like a month or so, something like that. And then wouldn't you know, those guys come out with them shortly thereafter.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure that's how it went.
I'm pretty sure that's the way
we had Silent Mike on our podcast. They have him on the next week.
Yeah. So we lined up with this podcast episode with you months ago, and then all of a sudden you start being on their podcast all the time.
Look, everybody's taking the Apple approach. You guys are not. Like the Apple approach is that let's not invent it. Let's just come out and market it so it's sexier and better, right?
Yep.
So you guys just need to hire somebody on your marketing team, like get it out there a little sexier, a little sooner, and so that everyone can stop stealing your ideas.
Yeah, we maybe just need to hire somebody.
That's the first step is someone. Yeah.
They don't even have to be good at anything. So you talked about Luol Deng. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I would have guessed that he was more than a 2-time NBA All-Star. Actually, I feel like, did he get snubbed some years in there?
Yeah, so I would say that you are a real fan then, because if you remember that era of basketball when the Bulls were, I think by all accounts a championship contender until Derrick Rose got hurt.
For sure.
Luol had the task of like guarding the best person every night. So Kobe in his prime and LeBron in his prime and Dwayne Wade in his prime and like everybody in their best. Like that was Luol's job. But he also scored enough to be an all-star. And this is back when, threes weren't really a thing unless you were a specialist. So Lou didn't really take threes. And he led the league in minutes. So he's guarding the best player. He's putting in enough baskets from twos, right, to actually be at an all-star level. And he's playing 42 to 44 minutes a game. And back then they used to play 4 games in 5 nights. It wasn't like it is now where like there's only like 3 back-to-backs a whole year. They would freaking play 4 games in 5 days. I mean, it's incredible. Right. And so, yeah, like there was a couple of years there, I think, where his stats and the team was good enough that he easily could have been selected. There was just a lot of good threes at that time, to be honest.
Right.
And Luol's thing is like, he's such a quiet guy. He never was like in the media. He was never talking about himself. And I think to some extent that was probably a detriment because people overlooked him. If you look him up on the Chicago Bulls stats, he's like 2nd, 3rd, or 4th in every category. It's like Jordan, Pippen, and then either him or Bob Love. And so like he's one of the best players of all time for one of the greatest, organizations of all time. And people don't even recognize that. And again, I just think it's because he was just, hey, I'm going to do my work. And it's what made coaches and GMs love him. But, it's not as good for your brand at the end of the day.
That makes sense. So it was Derrick Rose, him, Joakim Noah, and who else? They had was like Carlos Boozer or someone.
Yeah,
on
he was there for a year or two, wasn't he?
Yeah, too. Or
he was.
They did have
Boozer
a really good
there.
team though, too.
Yeah.
Kirk Heinrich was there.
Yeah. Okay.
Ben Gordon was there.
Yeah.
They had the bench mob for a while. Richard Hamilton played there towards the end of his career.
Okay.
They really had a good squad. It's just when Derek got hurt, it just all fell apart. And I was actually just in Senegal with Derek, Joakim, and Lou, which is kind of interesting. Like all these years later, we were in Senegal together. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Did Luell? What was his route to the NBA? Did he play college basketball in the United States then? Where did he?
Yeah, so we could do a whole podcast on Luol if you guys want to do a special episode. But I will try to give you his life story in 2 minutes. So he was born in South Sudan, and a lot of people, just make the mistake because they just don't know of saying that he's Sudanese. Well, Sudan used to be one country. They had a civil war for a long time, and they fought for their independence. So now it's Sudan and then South Sudan. They're separate countries. So he was born in South Sudan. And then he had to flee when he was 5 because his dad worked in the government, and because of the war that was going on, they were trying to assassinate people in the government. So they fled to Egypt. He was a refugee in Egypt for 5 years. Manute Bol, who's, everybody I think knows Manute Bol, one of the tallest players of all time. He was South Sudanese. He came in the summer to teach the kids in the camp how to play basketball because everybody played soccer, right? And so his brothers learned to play basketball and from Manute, and they taught Lou. Then they got political asylum in the UK. So he went to the UK at age probably 10, I think, 9 or 10, around there. And that's where he really started playing. He was actually a really good soccer player. He got one of those offers from a Premier League team, like the youth development offer, where they give you a pretty good amount of cash, but you have to drop out of school and join the academy. And his dad was like, no, we did not literally move halfway around the world so that you can drop out of school. Pick a sport where you can stay in school. And so he's like, okay. So he started playing basketball. And then he went from there to Blair Academy in New Jersey, which he played with Charlie Villanueva and Royal Ivey, who both played in the NBA. Royal Ivy's still a coach for the Brooklyn Nets right now. And then he went to Duke for 1 year.
Okay,
so
that's what I wondered if he went to Duke. I couldn't remember that for sure.
He was one of the first one and dones at Duke. And actually, when he committed there, Coach Krzyzewski would not let you be a one and done. You could only commit. He would only take you if you were committed for 3 to 4 years. So Luol went there fully intending on staying for his whole college career.
Then pulled a fast one on him. He's like, I got you, Coach K.
They went to the Final Four, and Lou led the team and everything. And he has agents calling him saying, you're going to be a top, probably 3 to 5 round draft pick, and you're going to make $10 million right away. And Lou's like, look, we literally walked, we literally walked out of our country, to save ourselves. I'm not turning that down. And actually, Coach K at the time actually banned him from the facilities. It was a big deal.
Really?
He wouldn't let him. He was doing his NBA draft workout stuff, somewhat playing pickup in the Duke recreation gym, because he was so mad at him that he had supposedly hoodwinked him, right? At this point, they're cool. They're very good friends at this point. But back then, he was really upset. So anyway,
that does seem like part of the problem with college sports, though, too. If you have this guy that grew up, with little opportunity, now he has the chance to make millions of dollars, and then the coach is blacklisting you because of that.
I'll put a stop to
that. Right. I'm I don't know. That doesn't sit very well with me, I don't think.
Well, it's a lot of things. I think, there's this idea of transitioning from the age of there's this morals and character and all these things that we put a high presence on in sports. But when you get to a high enough level, those things realistically are thrown to the side for the economics of it, right? And so it's an interesting thing that used to, it doesn't really happen anymore, but it used to they kind of throw this moral high ground, character high ground on you. And it's well, wait a second, how much money are you guys bringing in that I'm not getting?
Yes.
How many decisions are you making about money, not necessarily about my education? And by the way, if I couldn't play, you wouldn't be giving me stuff for free.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the economics are really the underlying thing there.
And there's also this thing that people seem to think that if you all of a sudden are taking money in any way, that you're just morally corrupt. It's well, you can't have both here. It's one or the other.
Well, and why are you going to college?
Yeah.
So that you can get a job and make money.
Right.
Goodness gracious. I don't know of any degree that's going to give you a $10 million contract when you're 18.
Out the gate on year one. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why. I mean, to be honest, if you don't take that and you're in college, you probably aren't smart enough to be in college.
Yeah.
You should probably get the heck out of there.
Right.
So, yeah. And again, it's all changed now. Guys get it now. And actually, the NBA, I don't know if you saw this, they just came out saying that they're re-examining the one and done rule, where they're going to allow kids to go straight to pros from high school again, which I think they should do, in my opinion. I think it should be allowed.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with that either. And I don't know what maturing do you do by going to a college for 1
To
year
just YOLO
when
for
you
a year
when
and
you
play-
have no intention of sticking around any longer than that, and like
Well, and to be honest, it's not even a year. You
Right.
go honestly, you
Right.
honestly go to class for one semester of class. That's it. Because if you're any good, you're playing in the tournament in March, and then you're dropping out of school as soon as it's done so you can prepare for the draft. Like, it's one semester of classes. It's just ridiculous. Like, if you want to make that decision, like, go for it.
yeah, I'm sure the NCAA has their greasy hands of not wanting that to go,
our farming system
yeah,
will dry
right,
up.
right,
No.
right, yeah,
You mean the mafia?
right, yeah, exactly.
I've never seen an organization that does so little make so much money. I mean, it's really incredible. It's the same thing as like FIFA, like all that stuff. Like these quote unquote governing bodies, they have all these rules and regulations. They act like it's really important for them to be there. But it's like, wait a second, if you weren't here, would we still
We'd
play?
probably be
Yes.
fine, yeah.
I figured out just fine.
Yeah.
I mean, and like back in the day, I get it, but at this point, with the TV deals and the media deals, and every university has their own complete departments for all that stuff. I mean, it's becoming less and less, I think, or more and more apparent, like that they're not necessary. And I think that's what's scary for the NCAA and why they're trying to adjust so quickly and change some of these things so they can at least hold on to like the lower D1s and D2s and D3s.
Yeah, Yep, that makes sense. A few weeks ago, we had Silent Mike on the show, actually, and something that came up, we were talking about, how freaky some high-level top sport athletes are. We're into powerlifting, strongman, the strength sports and stuff like that, and there's some seriously strong people, men and women, that have taken it seriously and like done some really impressive stuff. But we were talking about genetically how some of these people that were so gifted that they decided to play these sports like basketball or football professionally because there's so much money there. Like, from your experience, you've worked with NBA players, NFL players, that sort of thing. Like, how freaky are some of these top level guys that you've been around and seen some of the stuff that they do?
Yeah. I mean, it's a great question, and then I'll just say for any listeners who are still sticking around, and I've done strongman and powerlifting, and I've done one bodybuilding meet, so I'm not Dan Bell or Tom Callis or Huck Finn, but I've at least done some of it in the arena, so I understand somewhat what it takes to prep it and go through it. But I would say, like, I've trained guys, like there's this guy Bruce Gaston that I used to train. I trained him in high school, and then I trained him in college, and I trained him. He was a couple years in the pros. Bruce would come in to the gym and bench, 5'10", 520, and not having benched in maybe 2 or 3 months. Like, and he didn't even understand that was a big deal. Like, he just, that's what I do, right? And like, it's just what I do. And like, this one guy, Landon Cox, who was a wide receiver, he would walk around about 215, probably 4 to 5% body fat. His diet for breakfast, and if he ends up ever listening to this one day, he'll laugh because I make fun of him all the time. His diet for breakfast was orange juice and Skittles. That's what he would eat for breakfast. And one day I'm training like the NFL lineman group, right? We're doing fat bar floor press, like max effort, heavy, because I kind of did a modified conjugate style for those guys. And he comes in and he's making fun of them, like, why are you guys lifting such lightweight? He's like, what are you talking about? This is like 415 on a fat bar to a floor press. And like Landon gets down there cold, weighing 215, goes all the way down, elbows on the floor, pauses it, and just pops it back up. Like, no problem. I mean, you have guys like that, and again, on a regular basis at that level, who have some sort of very unique physical attribute or skill about them that it just blows your mind. I mean, Devin Hester was one of the most athletic people I've ever seen. If any old NFL fans remember how he would return kicks, I mean, the guy, he could just do some stuff in the gym that was crazy. But there's a guy named Brandon McGowan. If you really know your NFL history, he was a safety for the Patriots and the Bears. But he used to take, like, we had like one of those kind of big, taller tractor tires, like it would be on the back rim of a tractor.
Yep.
And he used to flip it, do a front dive through the tire, roll on the ground, turn around and pop up and catch it before it hit the ground. Like, that was just like fun for him, right? Like, just something to do. And Asia Evans, actually, so she's the person I trained. She was a track star at University of Illinois, and then I trained her for the bobsled, because at that time they were recruiting heavily out of track. And she was like, I want to keep doing something, and I think I have a chance at this bobsled stuff. So they okay, cool. Like, I don't know anything about bobsled, but like, let's figure it out together. Asia, I've seen her box squat, like no belt, no knee sleeves, no anything, like 405 for reps. And she went to they have like a combine, and I don't do a lot of Olympic lifting with my athletes. And she power cleaned, I think 265, and we hadn't even cleaned once in like a year. Like, I mean, she's just blowing people away. And even my wife used to compete in figure. She got 6th at the Olympia a couple times back in the day. And she almost out squatted one of my basketball guys last summer, just cold. Like, we have 3 kids now, and like, she still works out, but like, not like that. Like, she just came in the gym and did like, it was like 245 for like 9 reps on squat, like cold. I mean, like it's funny, like within fitness, like there's this like stratosphere of like people, and sometimes I have to stop and like kind of like self pat myself on the back, like, Jacob, it's okay. Like, what was it? Feel handy. Like, you're good enough. You're smart enough.
Yeah,
Gosh darn it, people like you.
Yeah.
Like I'm decently strong, and like I'm decently big, and oh shoot. I mean, 2 Christmases ago, Dan Bell was up here, right? And I had met Dan. I had never lifted with him ever. And, we go to Tom's, and I got there early. So, cause I had to do trap bar deadlift that day. I'm like, well, I know Dan's going to use all of Tom's plates, so let me get there early and like get my deadlift done. So I did. I got there early. I did like 805 for 5 or 805 for 3, which I think is pretty good for a trap bar deadlift. And Dan comes in, and Dan was like so excited for me. Like, he was really like genuinely just so hyped. He reminded me a lot of Brian Shaw. Like, Brian Shaw is like so genuinely just excited for anything you have to say. You could say I had vanilla ice cream, and Brian Shaw's like, oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Great.
That's so great.
Yeah.
And Dan was just so fired up for me. And then, watching Dan squat, I think he squatted 1040 that day, for sure a single. I think he was trying to double it, and he went for the second rep, and we had to take it because he was like, I got a little bit out of the groove. But like, just seeing that in person, just like, oh my gosh. And I've been blessed to see things like that multiple times throughout my life in different ways, and jumping and running and sprinting and throwing and all these like really, really cool things, and that most people never get to witness. And so like, I feel very blessed to like see that. And it just realigns my idea of like what's strong or what's athletic, for sure.
So you've seen some decent
Yeah,
stuff.
those are some impressive stories.
Yeah. Switching gears for a second. Can you rank these 3 Rosses from best to worst?
Okay.
These are in no particular order to you. Bob Ross, the painter, of course. Jim Ross, who is the WWE announcer, the guy that wears the cowboy hat and had a very southern accent, and kind of a bit of a
the one that didn't have the crown on.
Right. Yes. And then Ross from Friends.
Oh my gosh. Well, I never watched Friends, so that's got to be the worst.
I think that's pretty fair, actually.
I'm in alignment with you so far.
Friends is not good.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I tried growing up, I only had 3 channels. I had ABC, NBC, and Fox, because that's all our 40-foot antenna got.
Yep.
And so if it wasn't on those 3 channels, and it wasn't something that my Southern Baptist upbringing deemed appropriate to watch, I was not allowed to watch it. So I never saw Friends growing up. And like, one time as an adult, I don't know, on Netflix or something, I was like, let me just see what this is about. Like, no, it was terrible. I turned it off quickly. So he's worse. I would say Jim Ross would have to be second, because Bob Ross is clearly number 1, because there's a picture of my son whose hair is like super, super curly, and like we had like combed it out, and I put it right next to a picture of Bob Ross, and it almost looks identical with the hair. It's incredible. So Bob Ross has to be number 1, because he might be my cousin.
I was no particular relation that you're aware of, though.
No, not at all. Not at all. But I will repost that. I'll find it and repost it, because it's actually really, really fun, I think.
Okay, that's good. Bob Ross was a drill sergeant too in a
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Interesting fact that seems odd.
It is.
And what did he really liked squirrels. He would often pull out his baby squirrels on the set of.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh.
He'd bring his like baby squirrels and stuff like that.
Wow. Didn't know that part.
Interesting character.
Now let me ask you guys a question real quick. Who's the most like interesting person ever out of South Dakota, or maybe your top 3 if you had to rank them? I'm just curious.
Well, interesting. I'm not sure. Adam Vinatieri.
Okay.
You know, I mean, he pops up on the list sometimes. Mike Miller, you'd be aware of him for sure, the basketball player. Politically, there's probably a few people that I don't know which one. Lawrence Welk, where was he from? Was he from South?
That's like Grenville, isn't it?
Yeah, Lawrence Welk. Are you familiar with Lawrence Welk at all?
No, I'm not.
They do like a parody of him on SNL, or they used to.
Yeah. He had like
he was like the polka king.
Yeah, it was like and he had a show on like maybe PBS or something like that.
Yeah, for like a really long time.
Yeah, for like decades.
And what's his name? I'm trying to think of who would be him or on that show.
Yeah, I don't.
I can't remember. But yeah.
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah,
just down down the road from us, actually.
God, Tanner, you're kind of nailing this so far. That
is it. There's got to be someone better than all of those that I'm missing.
Well,
I feel like it's not wow. None of those are really wowing.
Not really.
Like that's the best ever.
I mean, well, okay. Let me give you a comparison. So Pittsburgh, Texas.
Yeah.
Right. No H on the end of it because we don't do silent letters well down there.
Okay.
So we just lopped that bad boy right off of there. So we're famous for, I would say, 3 things. And this is all confirmable via the interwebs if you want to get on there and look it up. So number 1, we were first in flight in America. It was not those stupid Wright brothers and with their license plates in North Carolina. It was Pittsburgh, Texas, the Ezekiel airship. Google it. But
was it really was it a man powered?
It was.
Is there any asterisks to this? We need to know?
Right.
So here's the story. Quickly, here's the story. So there was a preacher who said that he had an angel come to him in the middle of the night and give him this passage in Ezekiel that inspired him to build a flying machine, right? So he built it and he flew it over, I don't know, like 3 or 4 pastures, basically. So like he was in the air for like, I don't know, 60 seconds or something. And he was like, this is awesome. I'm going to go show the world. So we can't prove that. But he was invited to the World's Fair in Chicago. He did put his plane on a train to go to the World Fair, and that train did wreck on the way, destroying his plane. So that is confirmed, and he was never able to rebuild it before the Wright brothers flew. So there's a museum in Pittsburgh with a model of the Ezekiel airship hanging up in the sky.
Are you sure it wasn't one of those comical flight things from old black and white video where they all go off the ramp and all go immediately down into the water? Like they have like flapping bird wings and stuff like that.
I think it's very possible.
He's like, yeah, I
very
flew
possible.
For 3 pastures.
It's very possible.
Yeah.
So that's one. Number 2, Carol Shelby is actually from a town called Leesburg, which is literally like, I don't know, like 2 miles from Pittsburgh. Like if you live in Leesburg, you usually tell people you're from Pittsburgh. It's like one of those towns. So he actually had a farm not far from where I grew up for a long time. Well, until he passed away, obviously.
That's a pretty cool one.
And then the last one is we were the 2nd largest chicken producer in the nation, Pilgrim's Pride Chicken. And this guy named Bo Pilgrim started it. And he actually dressed and looked like a pilgrim, like the hat and everything. And then he had a chicken named Henrietta. So there was a statue that they built outside of this freezer plant. And again, you can look this up. Bo Pilgrim's head was made to like, I don't know, like 20, 30 times larger than it was in real life. It looked like hole 18 of a putt-putt golf course. And they painted it. Like they painted it. It wasn't like bronze or like they painted it. It looked, and then underneath it, it was him and Henrietta as a gold statue. And then he had what they call Cluckingham Palace. It's like this baller, like MTV crib house, like in freaking Pittsburgh, Texas. I mean, it's insane that this even exists anywhere, much less in Pittsburgh, Texas. So if the fans want to deep dive, look up those 3 things. It'll be interesting.
Well, I feel like you have a speed of those ones. Did you think of anything else?
I thought of 3 more things. I don't think any of them are quite as exciting. The guy who wrote The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, that
lived in
L. Frank
Aberdeen.
Oh, that's a big thing.
Yeah, he lived in Aberdeen for a while.
Yeah.
That's of noteworthy. If we're going to talk business, the Super 8 hotel chain was started in Aberdeen as well.
Yeah.
That's a big deal too.
Oh, it is a big deal. It actually
It is around here.
There's still a lot of people riding pretty high from how that shook out.
Did you have one more?
I guess you could say we're probably the pheasant country capital
That's
of the
true.
world here too.
Yeah, the pheasant capital.
Yeah. So that actually starts in about a month here. So things
although it is the
wild.
Chinese ringneck pheasant.
It is.
But,
I didn't know that for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, it just shows how humble you guys are because you didn't mention Massenomics.
Oh, that's true.
True. Yeah.
That's
world
true.
famous Massenomics.
That's true.
I mean, that's in my top three. It's like Black Hills, Massenomics, and Mount Rushmore.
Well, for a lot of people
done.
in, like pretty deep into the lifting community, Massenomics. If you say South Dakota and they're aware of Massenomics, like Massenomics is going to be on their
that's
list.
probably what they would say. Say what you know about South Dakota. And
Like,
Mount
the
Rushmore,
Massenomics guy for there. Yeah.
Maybe Taco
I think it would be
John's.
safe. I think it would be safe to say that no one in the lifting community would know anything about South Dakota if it wasn't for Massenomics.
That might be true.
That's you guys are doing important work. That's for
true.
sure.
That's true. So we have this little game we play with every guest. It's called Overrated, Underrated, and we do have a special hand pick set of Jacob Ross topics for Overrated, Underrated. And
Love it.
Are you familiar with the rules of the game at all?
Let's go over them just to make sure I don't break any rules.
Okay.
I don't want to be a rule breaker.
So we'll fire each one off of you. It's not necessarily a rapid fire game, but we will fire them to you, and you have your druthers to elaborate as much as little or as little in response to each one as you'd like. But the main thing you have to remember is you can't ride the line. You have to ultimately decide if either one is overrated or underrated.
Love it.
No line riding.
Love it. I'm not a line rider. It's why I don't eat tomatoes.
And
Is it a fruit? Is it a vegetable? I don't know, so I don't eat them.
Just avoid the dilemma. That's good. That's
I don't
good.
want that indecisiveness in my life.
I mean,
Get that out.
according to something, apparently, sure, it's a fruit, but like we know that that's still a vegetable. Like fruit tastes good, and that is a tomato. That's a vegetable.
Okay, look, I've never been to a Super 8 with a complimentary breakfast that has tomatoes out.
Exactly.
So it's not a fruit.
Exactly.
That's right.
Nobody's eating that as a fruit.
Yeah,
Unless you're a
it doesn't
psychopath.
happen.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, overrated or underrated World Cup basketball?
It is underrated because outside of the U.S., it is the biggest thing in basketball. People care way more about that than they do the NBA Finals. Way more about that because it's the only way that their countries touch basketball in any sort of elite level way. And all the best NBA players come back and play for their teams. Luka Doncic was just playing. Jokic was just playing. Giannis was just playing. It's only in the U.S. That we really just don't care because we have the NBA Finals. But everywhere else in the world, it's an extremely, extremely big deal. So I would say that the World Cup is underrated for basketball.
Okay.
Do you know right now, do they have like any, are their rules pretty much in alignment with NBA or is there any major differences right now?
No, there's some major differences. So a quick download. So like one of my jobs that I do now is I am the strength coach for the South Sudan men's national basketball team that Luol basically started and funded because South Sudan is such a young country. They don't really have the infrastructure to support that. So Luol's like, I'm going to do it. And we went from last place in the world to one of the top two teams in Africa right now. We're one win away from making the World Cup. And the national team flew back after this last window to South Sudan. And there was literally thousands of people waiting at the airport to greet them. That's how big of a deal it is. So in terms of the rules, FIBA has a few different rules. One thing is they have an unsportsmanlike foul. That basically means if you foul somebody and it's not a basketball play, it's an automatic tech. So possession plus 2 shots. And if you get another one, you get kicked out of the game. So, you know, like those take fouls, like, you know, they just grab somebody. You cannot do that in FIBA at all, ever. It has to be a basketball play. So if you're going to take a foul, you have to actually try to steal the basketball. You can't just grab somebody's jersey.
You can't do the old hack-a-shack.
No,
where they
you
just
cannot.
like off the tip of the ball be like, gotcha, Shaq.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope, can't do it. And then the other thing that's interesting in FIBA is as soon as the ball touches the rim, it's live. So there is no like in the cylinder, you can't disturb it kind of stuff. So like on a free throw, if it hits the front of the rim and you're tall enough, you can swipe that sucker right out of there as long as it hit the rim, hit the rim before you touched it.
That's interesting.
Huh.
Those are probably the two biggest ones that we have to kind of coach guys on.
Is the paint a funny shape still, or is it a
No.
regular rectangle?
I mean, I've seen that.
Okay.
In Africa, it's normal.
Okay.
Like it seems to be like a European thing, but I think they're trying to standardize it because they're understanding slowly but surely that like the more standardized basketball is towards the NBA, the more NBA guys are willing to play, and the more the fans in the U.S. especially, which is obviously the largest TV market, they really understand the game and they're more willing to watch it. So they're trying to get the rules closer and closer and closer. But so I haven't seen that in a while. But yeah, that is a weird fake key they do sometimes.
Yeah.
Super strange.
Do they put together is there a U.S. team in like normal World Cup play, or do they not like even field a team, or what do they do?
No, they play
Okay.
because you have to qualify, and the U.S. always shows up. If you remember, I remember like I used to get Slam magazine, right? Because there wasn't. I didn't have internet in my house until I was like 18, so I used to get Slam magazine. I remember
Stephon Marbury was on the cover of Slam
Yes,
magazine for the month.
yes.
Yeah.
And like I remember seeing this big picture in the magazine of Vince Carter jumping over this like 7-foot
It was
Lithuanian
like
guy
this
dunking
kind of
on him.
arguably the sickest dunk of all time, actually. That
Yes,
particular dunk, yeah.
And if I'm not wrong, that was World Cup. It wasn't the Olympics. I
Okay.
think it was World Cup.
Okay.
So they
look
do
that
feel
up.
the
Anyone
team.
that likes really awesome things, look at that dunk of Vince Carter is like one of the wildest dunks that there is.
I mean, he literally clears a 7-footer. I mean, it is incredible.
Teabagged
Like
him
no
on the way up.
Yeah, like no show dunk, like just in a game, just straight up normal. I mean, it is crazy. But yeah, so I mean, the U.S. will field a team at the World Cup. They have a team that plays, but it's like basically like college level guys.
Okay.
And maybe a couple of like lower level pro guys, and then like for the World Cup or like the Olympics, like that's when the big guns show up. So like, you know, Damian Lillard will roll in or LeBron will roll in. Like that's just the way the U.S. does it because those guys don't have to play because the U.S. is traditionally so good that they just kind of automatically qualify without putting their best players out. That's changing, by the way. But the thing about North America is their pool is pretty easy. They play Canada, who actually has a pretty good team. They play Mexico. They play Puerto Rico. And some of the like Central American countries. So it's not super hard for them to get out of that pool. Like in Africa, there's 54 countries roughly, and only 5 teams go out of 54.
Okay.
So it's very difficult for us to qualify. For the U.S., it's a little bit easier of a route because it's just such a basketball culture and the teams that they have to play to get there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So World Cup basketball is good and underrated.
It is. I mean, I don't know if I'm sure you guys saw some of the highlights just from the European Championships, which is World Cup qualifying basketball, by the way. I mean, there's some really good basketball. And at the actual World Cup, I mean, it's the 32 best teams. And so if you say, like, okay, in the NBA, you can sign players, right? You can't do that in the World Cup. So it's kind of, in my opinion, a really fun way to watch, especially if you like college basketball style where you're not quite sure who's going to win.
Right.
That's the way the World Cup is because you're going to have Luka, who's obviously the best player in his team, going up against Giannis.
Right.
And it's like, who's going to win? I don't know.
Right,
It's really, there's no secondary.
Probably against
player.
Giannis and like all of his brothers, I suppose, on that team.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But like some teams,
Exactly.
it is, you look at them, you're like, I actually know several people on this team. And like, this is, you know, it is kind of wild how much of a presence Europe does, or just not even Europe, but all other countries do have in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, we just played a part of our World Cup qualifier. We played Congo, and Jonathan Kaminga, who plays on the Warriors, played for Congo.
Okay.
Gorgie Jang, who's played 10 years in the NBA, he's on the Spurs right now. He played for Senegal. I mean, even in our small pool, there was a couple of NBA guys. So it's becoming more and more normal, I think, for guys to go play for their teams, which just makes basketball better.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Overrated or underrated? Horned frogs.
Oh my gosh, underrated. Are you kidding me? First of all, it's the only mascot in the world that's a horned frog. The only one. There's a million bears and there's a million lions and there's a million pirates and captains and, you know, whatever. Oh my, like there's only one horned frog. And a lot of people don't know their self-defense mechanism, because they're about the size of like the palm of your hand roughly, is when they feel like they're about to get attacked, they start pooling blood in the tear duct of their eye. and start pressurizing it, and to the point that it gets so much pressure that it shoots blood out of the corner of their eye up to 10 feet away and scares off predators.
Ugh.
It is super gnarly. Like, look
Scared
that
me
up
away.
on National Geographic. It is crazy. And another interesting fact about the horned frogs, TCU adopted that mascot because originally they were actually, the college started in Waco, not far from Baylor. And when they went to break ground, they actually hit a den of horned frogs, and they came out of the ground. So like, oh, okay, that's our mascot. And then bam, stuck ever since.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So underrated for sure. Look up that if you just type in horned frog blood, it pops up right away. It's like a National Geographic video. He's like fighting off a coyote. It's pretty crazy.
So like if you go home, will you encounter a horned frog?
So Pittsburgh is northeast corner. So we're like an hour. I say we're an hour from everywhere. We're an hour from Louisiana, Arkansas, and Oklahoma, because I can get to any of those borders in like an hour drive. So we're Piney Woods region. So I won't see them where I grew up.
Okay.
But like Dallas, Fort Worth, which is like 2.5, 3 hours from me, going 80 miles an hour, like South Dakota, like everything's 80 to 90 miles an hour. That's the border of like the desert, right? So you're going from like grasslands to desert. So like that area, and as you keep going west, like absolutely you will see them. And technically they're lizards, but horned lizard doesn't sound cool, so horned frog it is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Overrated or underrated jump training?
Ooh. Like, are we talking about like the jump shoes, like from the 90s?
No, but those are good. Yeah,
Those are what we're talking. If we got to remember that.
Yeah. Just more generally speaking, I guess.
Because I have a pair of those in my gym right now, like that I had when I was 14 years old. I still have them, string soles.
I wanted
Same
those
shoe.
really bad at one point.
They were
in time.
always
I
like
thought,
black
yeah.
and red, right? And didn't they have that it's like a huge disc, it looks like on the toe kind of.
Yes, I will take a picture. I will actually I will do some exercises in them, and I'm going to.
You
tag
should post like a deadlift wearing those. Could you do it? Could you perform a deadlift wearing those?
It would be really difficult. It would be really difficult. At least if you stay off your heels, because you're elevated like 3 or 4 inches in the air. They're pretty crazy.
So is there merit to those things, or are they just like a gimmick?
I would say that the thing about jump training that's so interesting to me, and I've thought about this a lot, and I still don't think I have all the answers, is I had a couple of kids in high school who ended up playing at like Notre Dame and Ohio State, respectively. And both of those kids on like the Vertec, they had like 42 to 44 inch verticals in high school. So if vertical jump is a measurement of power, those kids were like crazy powerful, but they were only like 170 pounds and they weren't super strong. Right. And then you take a guy like, Dan Bell, who does a jump after, every heavy deadlift. And, I love Dan to death, but he's getting like 12-inch vertical or something. Right.
Right.
So like if I took
squat
Dan
1,000 pounds for 3 or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he is literally the definition of power in powerlifting. So if I take Dan and I start training him for a jump program, I'm not getting him to a 40-inch, 5-inch vert. And vice versa. If I take those guys and train them to do a 1,000-pound squat, it's just not happening. It's not in the cards for them. So I'm not sure to this day how much like quote unquote jump training helps. I think it's like anything. I think you can modify. I think you can push a needle over a little bit. I don't know that you can completely change it. I've done a lot of my jump training in contrast methods. So we superset like a box squat or a deadlift or whatever the case may be with a jump. I like that idea of like potentiation. So you're getting this kind of heavier, dual-legged movement going right into a jump. So your body kind of overfires on the jump and it thinks it's about to deadlift or squat again. I've seen that work really well. I used to do a lot of NFL combine training. And so, we have to get those guys, basically turn them into track stars in like 6 weeks. And I've seen that work really well, but I've never taken someone who's been like a terrible jumper and made them an incredible jumper. It's like maybe you add 6 inches, 8 inches, couple times 10, couple times, but it's pretty rare. It seems to be somewhat of like a genetically predisposition thing. And I'm not sure how much, that's really modified. Now, maybe if everybody had shrink sole shoes, they'd all be jumping out of the gym. I don't know.
That's a secret.
But I think also too, a lot of it is like the principle of specificity, right? Like if you don't jump a lot in your day-to-day life, you're probably not going to get better at jumping. It's almost like you have to play a sport or be involved in something where you're jumping outside of your training to really get good at it. It's just like sprinting. Like if you only would just sprint in the gym a couple times a week, you're not going to be a world-class sprinter. So Yeah, it's actually a really interesting question. Interesting question. So I cannot walk the line. I have to say overrated or underrated on jump training. I'm going to say that as it's done mostly, I'm going to say it's overrated.
Okay, yeah. I think that's fair. You used your druther as well to come up with that. Last one is worth all the marbles.
Okay.
This is an important one, probably the most controversial that we've had. Overrated or underrated? The Let's Get Stupid podcast.
It is for sure 100% underrated. Come on. Where else are you going to learn to be an alpha? Where else are you going to hear about buying the proper lawnmower for his humongous farm? Where else you can hear about Tom Callis's DeVille exploits? Yep. I mean, if that's not premium grade A content in 2022, I don't know what is. I'm surprised that HBO hasn't called them up and said, we're developing a whole series out of this, because that is compelling information you need to know.
Hey, to be fair, I actually really enjoy the Let's Get Stupid. Yeah. We like to make jokes about it, and they like to poke fun at us, which we like. It's always funny. But I really like the Let's Get Stupid podcast. It's a little bit probably what people experience when they listen to us each week. I just like to catch, just like you're just hanging out and what do they got going on?
The funny thing for me is I think a lot of what they talk about is foreign topics for a bunch of people, but it's not that different from what you could go to a bar in town here and hear people saying the exact same things.
Yes.
Well, for me, when I'm traveling, when I'm in Africa, right? I actually listen to I can't wait for it to come out, because it makes me feel connected to being back home, right? Like what's going on in the world. So I actually, what I enjoy about it is the fact that it's just like you said, it's a normal conversation. I think we all get tired of having these platforms where people are basically trying to persuade you to a certain direction, whether that's to believe something or to buy something or to do something. There's always an outcome oriented thing for whatever it is. And on that podcast, there is no outcome. It's just sit down.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're done.
Enjoy it
for the day. Yep.
Dan Bell laughs, and that tells him it's been an hour and 3 minutes or whatever it is, and that's kind of the end of it. And so every time they ask me to come on, I enjoy it. And I just to be all fair and lovey-dovey, I do love those guys. Tom has become one of my best friends, and they're just good, normal people like you guys. I mean, I am going to become an avid Massenomics listener, because something that I don't know that if it's a soapbox that I get on, but I really like to meet people before I get super connected, involved with them. I don't know why that is. I've just always been that way. And so now that I've really had a nice long conversation with you guys, I'm gonna be a Massenomics supporter. I'm ready.
That's
ready
to
join.
That's how we get more listeners. Just 1 week at a time. We get one person at a time.
52 people a year.
Yeah.
Just knocking them
if we
down.
can just keep doing that for 30 more years, we're really gonna have something. So yeah, next time when you are on there, is make sure to throw some things out about how we said we invented the silly pint cup first, and
I will.
What else? What else have they stolen? They've stolen so much stuff from us. I can't really
the Dakota cut shirt.
Yeah. We came out with the Dakota cut shirt, so they came up with the Karen cut shirt.
The Karen cut. That's right.
Yeah, the Dakota cut is just cutting off one sleeve, correct? Is that what we said?
I think
that is?
so. We're
you
still
just
not
cut
even really
one
sure.
sleeve off.
We're still not sure what we invented.
Maybe it's also a midriff.
Yeah, it's one of those two.
Well, I think I mean, I don't know about as much about South Dakota, leisure wear, but in Texas, you see a lot of those guys who the neck of their shirt is randomly cut, not in a nice way, it's just randomly torn or cut. Oh yeah, okay, perfect.
That's almost that's a 80s 90s bodybuilder move too. Isn't it almost kind of that?
Oh yeah.
Thing?
I feel like that's more of a sweatshirt thing around here. People take their hoodies and like to cut a V into them. You know?
That's true.
Well, you got to show off those chest gains,
That's right.
That's right. That's exactly right.
You got to show them off for sure.
So, where would people check out Smart Strength Official and anything else that you would want them to check out?
Yeah. So, we didn't get into it too much, but
no.
There's a lot of things that I'm involved in. The biggest thing I'm involved in is actually at this point in my life, is nonprofit work. So I work with Luwal's Foundation, and I work for it's partnered with a nonprofit called Matter that I work for that's based out of Minnesota. And basically, my job is it's right there. Basically, my job is to help partner with pro athletes with philanthropic projects. So there's a lot of pro athletes who want to do good in the world. They don't necessarily have a team of experts around them. And so our job is like, hey, if you want to get something done and we have expertise in it, then we try to partner up and figure it out and help. And so Luwal's Foundation is a big part of that. And I always tell people this, like, why didn't you like go be a strength coach for an NBA team or something like that? It's like, well, those are terrible jobs. Anybody who does that and loves it, like, I don't know that person. I don't. Right. I know a lot of people who've done it and they've been burned, or they've been fired, they've been burnt out, or some combination of that. And it's a very, very difficult job. I'd say like strength and conditioning jobs for teams are only good if you're like at Alabama or Oregon or somewhere where you have like a legacy and you're not going anywhere. But usually, you're like first on the chopping block. Like if they change regimes, you're gone. And it has nothing to do with how good you are. It has nothing to do with your effort and your intensity. It just has everything to do with the politics of the situation. So, and then, I've never seen somebody like really enjoy the 60-year-old strength coach at your local gym. Like that just doesn't happen either. No. So strength, like in terms of training, is like a long-term career. I think it's a difficult thing to do, and just time-wise. I mean, to really do it, like when I used to run that gym in Chicago, when I used to train all those incredible athletes, I'd never trade that time. I don't regret that time. But, I was up at 3:30, 3:15 in the morning for about 7 years, and I would work until 8 or 9 at night. And you can't sustain that as a human being, and you certainly can't sustain it as a family. So to really do it right, I think that's what it took back then. So I just had no desire to do that. But, Smart Strength came along because Tom and I, like I said, we met, he saw that barbell grade shirt I had on at church, and, we started training together, and he kind of got beat up. And, I'm not a physical therapist, but I've had to put a lot of athletes back together because there's this really big gray area between like, oh, you're cleared from physical therapy, but are you cleared to play on an NFL football field? You know what I mean? Like those are different things. And there's no degree or certification for that. It's just experience and trying to work with your athlete to figure it out. And I've done that a lot. So Tom and then COVID hit, and a lot of people would ask Tom for training, that's me for training. And it's like, but what if we do it together? And what if we do it online? So that's where Smart Strength came from, is can we bring access to like some incredible coaches, basically through an app and deliver that. So that's a way that I stay really connected with training. And obviously, like my own training, I try to still I just did a strongman this summer. I don't know if you guys saw it, but we all wore jean shorts, and we drove a 65 Fleetwood Cadillac limo down there. We all won our weight divisions, which was awesome. We got hatchets, super cool.
Weaponry as trophies. That's
the best trophies.
A sword award.
And I think I might do a powerlifting meet into December, and I still train very hard. For me, it's just to do it as a job, it's difficult, and I'm not ruling out training some here and there, but anyway, that's kind of like a long version of like why, if you look at my social media, it seems like I'm all over the place, because I'm in Africa 3 or 4 months of the year basically, and then when I'm home, I work from home, but I have to travel some, and I'm kind of all over the place. So to say all that to say, Jacob.w.ross at Instagram. That's the easiest. That's really the only place that I actually consistently post anything. And then, Smart Strength Official, it's just at Smart Strength Official. If you want to learn more about our training and what we do there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm a simple guy, and I try to post stuff. I feel old. How old are you guys? I'm just curious.
33.
If you don't mind answering.
Tommy's 33 and I'm 35. Where are you at?
No, I'm 36. So we're same era. So like, with Tom, I think Tom's 29, maybe 28.
Other Tom is a little older than us, right?
He's like 40. Yeah, he just turned 40.
Yep.
And so sometimes like when I'm talking to Tom Callis, like I feel old, because it's like Instagram when it hit was like 2010, 2011. And like, so for me, like that's my generation of like social media as a professional person, like actually posting things. And at one point I went through and archived, I think like 3,000 videos I had posted, because people kept asking me for stuff, and I'm like, it's on there. Like, I can't find it. I'm like, oh my gosh. And so like at this point, in terms of like posting social media, I really struggle with like what's helpful to post, what's actually doing some good in the world to post, and then I see people post stuff all the time, and it's like, oh man, I posted that like 9 years ago, but like nobody owns exercises, right? So it's I'm not like jealous or anything. It's just like, oh, I remember those days. You know what I mean? Like I just feel old. So yeah, I don't know if I'm a good follow, but hopefully it's not a waste of time, I try to post helpful stuff on there from time to time and funny stuff from time to time. Oh, I'll end with this. There's this really funny video of me and Luell's brother. If you go a few back, he's 7 foot.
Yeah, we love this video. Yeah. We were just watching it beforehand. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, people, it's almost reached 1 million accounts. It's by far the most popular thing I've ever posted. Not even close in terms of comparison. And people cannot understand it. And if you look in the comments, it's hilarious. Like the comments going back and forth, and anyway, it's interesting video. So.
I would close on next time you go to church, wear a Massenomics shirt, and you'll be shocked at the kind of people you'll meet then.
Yes. Yeah. No, you guys are going to see an order come through real soon. Trust me.
Well, we appreciate you getting you on here. This was a lot of fun.
No, I mean, honestly, thanks for having me. I really, really have a lot of respect for you guys. You have this ability to get a lot of people that I would say that I'm good friends with and I care a lot about, who I think are great people. You have this ability to kind of connect with them and rope them all together. And that just speaks a lot about you guys. And so I didn't even hesitate when you guys reached out. I'm like, yes, this is amazing. And correct me if I'm wrong. I'll end on a joke. I don't think Cowboy Cam's ever been on here, right?
He hasn't yet. So you can all hold that up. Tom, and you all have been. And he has not.
No Cowboy Cam.
Yep. Yes. So you can lord that one over him.
Perfect. Well, now, how many times has Dan Bell been on y'all's podcast?
Well,
3 maybe. He was our first ever well, no, he wasn't our first ever.
One of our first ever in person.
Well, the first time we had him on was like 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we've had him call in a few times too. He's for sure been on at least 3 in some capacity, maybe 4 or 5 even.
Yeah.
Okay, so my goal on the Let's Get Stupid podcast is just to be on more than Dan Bell, and I think I'm winning that right now. So over the next few years, I'm going to have to come back. Just, if anything...
just to beat Dan on every one of them.
Just give me 10 seconds. Just give me 10 seconds, just so I can count it, and I can beat Dan. That's all I need.
That's a noble pursuit.
Perfect.
All right. Thanks, Jacob. This is good.
Thanks, Jacob.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys, and we'll be talking soon.
Sounds good. See ya.
All right, bye.
Cool beans. Cool beans.
Oh, I think he's going to appreciate those cool beans.
You gave him the double cool beans.
You got the double cool beans.
Double serving.
Piping cold.
Twice the beans.
Twice the beans. Twice as cold.
1 bean times 2.
Follow me on this math here.
Mr. Bean. Yeah, that was good.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
He's definitely has a lot of different perspectives on the strength training world.
He does. He's done some different things than our,
than what a lot of people we talk to do.
Right.
It's always cool to hear from someone that has seen strength and training from some different angles.
Yeah. Like, especially since he's also participated in powerlifting and strongman himself.
Like
he
understands
really gets our world.
Yes.
But also how it relates to the world of someone that doesn't really care about how much they squat. They just want to be able to play in the NBA for 5 more years.
To just be the best.
Yeah.
Or as good as possible.
Well, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
You know what else is good stuff? Buying t-shirts from Massenomics.com and shorts. And Tommy's wearing the Raise Hell Lift Heavy tee. Classic. I'm wearing the Massenomics Gym tee. Both of these are available. Tommy's wearing the Lift Shorts 3. Also available. I am wearing the plain ones.
You do have
also known as the Lift Shorts 1 with no logo on them.
That are really old.
Yeah, these are actually, I think what I'm wearing may be the sample that we got for the first ever Lift Shorts.
The formula of the shorts is slightly different from then to now, isn't it?
It is.
It's kind of crazy how it can actually change over the course of 6 years or 7 years, whatever it is.
Yeah, Champion has made their shorts differently in that amount of time for sure.
Just don't make them like they used to.
They don't, but still, the ones we sell are pretty good too. Well, so buy those also.
They don't make how like they used to, but they make ours how they used to. So ours are still good.
That's true. Yes, buy ours still. And buy all of our stuff on our website. Buy a drink spotter.
Buy two. Lots of people buying two this week.
That's true. And they come in 5/8 pin size or 1-inch pin size, so it can fit probably whatever your rack setup is at home or in the gym there.
Everyone's doing it.
Everyone's doing it. Ski-doo. Do you know that?
Actually,
does that ring a bell to you?
It does.
Everybody's doing it. Ski-doo.
When I used to listen to the radio a lot, like 20 years ago, that brought me back instantly, which is amazing because I could have never told you that.
Yeah.
But you saying it, I actually thought of this the other day. Do you ever remember? We would laugh about these so much. There'd be ads on the radio for Country Hearth bread.
Country Hearth bread, the toast of the Dakotas. Yes, I remember it. Country Hearth bread.
I always like the guy.
The toast of the Dakotas. There was these long pauses.
I always remember there was one. It sounded like the guy kind of had an Irish accent because he was talking about like the fresh cracked grain, like in the bread or something. Like, what the hell? Where's this voice coming from? But Country Hearth,
the toast of the Dakotas. Is that made here somewhere?
I don't know.
Yeah, that was always the slogan.
I don't remember that being the slogan.
And why was there so much bread advertising on the radio of like a certain kind of bread? I'm like, I just buy what's in the store.
What do you guys do? What do you guys get for bread? Do you know? Oh, dude, we get that freaking Country Hearth 12 grain. It's so damn good.
Yeah,
it's so good.
We get stuff. Yeah, what's the wrapping look like? Is it greenish
kind of,
on
no,
it?
it's like maroonish kind of.
Okay.
And it's not like a regular loaf of bread is like long. This is slightly shorter.
Yeah, we get the shorter. We have like the same thing. I don't know if that's the brand we get or not or whatever, but it's like that too. And it is way better. It's like a way denser piece of bread than
that's my biggest thing with it is
because when you feels like you're eating something.
Because you go back to regular bread and you're like, this is just air holding things together.
That's what we get also.
The other day, Leah goes, "Dude, when was the last time you think you bought white bread or just?"
I do.
And I couldn't even tell you straight up white bread. When do you?
It looks funny actually to me when you look at it. You're like, that's
something's
not
wrong
food.
here.
Yeah, like that's barely food.
I assumed you would have the same response, but I didn't know if you're like, "Oh no, we love it for peanut butter sandwiches or something."
I do think the kids would probably prefer when I make a grilled cheese if we just had some good old regular white bread. But sometimes we do get sometimes we also get just regular wheat bread. Yeah. You know, it kind of is basically looks just,
still feels almost like like there's not enough there.
No, it feels just like the white bread, but it looks a little better because it's at least not stark white.
Like it doesn't glow in the dark.
Like why did somebody bleach this?
What reasoning made this happen?
I'm
trying to think if there's any other radio ads from, there used to be just so many of the Dollar Loan Center ads back in the day.
That's true.
Oh, and they ran the parody game hard.
Yeah, that's true.
They would. We used to enjoy those because they were so ridiculous all the time.
Are those illegal in South Dakota now?
Well,
payday
when they made it so that they couldn't have like a 60% loan rate, then they decided, no, we're going to leave the state.
Yeah, those things shouldn't exist. Those are not helping anyone.
60%'s predatory?
Yeah.
What happened to the free market around here?
Okay. Don't be broke, Aberdeen. Dollar Loan Center. They'd always lead in with don't be broke, Aberdeen. And I'm like, how are you helping me not be broke?
Was one, we're gonna walk down to the Dollar Loan Center and then we'll get some money. And there was like we're not going to take it, but it was something, something to, I can't even remember. There was so many of them though.
I always remember, don't be broke, Aberdeen. I'm like,
don't be broke today, but tomorrow you will.
What you're saying is the opposite of true.
Yeah. It's good stuff. And of course, Taco John's is always a perennial radio favorite.
Yeah, that's true. Radio and they kind of cornered the market on advertising altogether.
They've really upped their TV game lately.
Yeah. I like when you listen to the radio and like an ad that you thought was only like a strictly television ad that doesn't even seem like it's the right format for radio.
It's kind of like someone just plugged in their phone. They're like, well, find the YouTube ad and they plug it in. They say, all right, that works for the radio too.
That doesn't really work on the you're like playing the audio of a visual commercial.
Yeah, there's like sound effects going on. You're like, well, I have to see what the sound effects are. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah. Radio is weird.
It's very weird.
Just broadcast radio is, I think it's in a really weird spot right now.
I would say right now it's very weird because it's so, well, I just don't even listen to it. It's so many ads on it. Like you get hit with ads everywhere, but we've talked about this probably 50 times on here. You can get to a lot of places in this town in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's not unusual to get in your car, have the radio on, get to your destination.
Never hear
and
music.
you didn't hear a thing besides ads.
Yeah.
That's why I can't do it.
I listen to it quite a bit.
I know you keep up on it. You
Yeah,
do.
I listen to it quite a bit, and I don't know why. Other than number one, my vehicle is old enough that it's not convenient to play something that's like on my phone. Like my vehicle does not have Bluetooth or like or even the correct like
that's what
things.
A lot of times for me, because it is just podcasts now, I just leave my phone speaker playing all the time.
Okay,
in
I
my
do
car.
that too. I thought people would make fun. Like
No.
I was gonna say, if I either listen to my radio, it actually works really good. I mean,
just put it speaker down in the cup holder.
in the cup holder,
Yeah.
the cup holder is awesome acoustics.
It is.
For,
it's the microphone. It's the amplifier. For
And when I listen to podcasts in the vehicle, that's how I do it.
Yeah, I'll plug it in if I'm going to be there for more than a few minutes. But yeah, if I'm just like driving to the gym quick,
Right.
and I'm going to
Basically
listen to a
anywhere
podcast,
in Aberdeen.
yeah, and I'm going to just listen to a podcast, a good chunk of the time, I don't bother to actually plug my phone in so that it's going.
Right. You know what's annoying? Like when you call someone and like, because their phone Bluetooths to their car, they're either getting in or out of their car, and it's always like,
Yeah.
and like it comes up a lot.
Yeah, that does happen.
It happens
odd number of times,
right? It happens really frequently,
and how people
like too frequently. How are people so often just getting in or out of their car?
I know. That happens with my dad all the time. I don't know. It's always
Like,
and then it's like going between that
Yeah.
and with his job, he'll have to wear a Bluetooth headset, and it's like going between the vehicle audio, the Bluetooth headset in the vehicle, like it's always a mess.
It seems like the Bluetooth in the vehicle technology isn't that good yet. Like, is that mastered now or not?
I don't know. I think
Seems like there's a lot of problems.
I think it's
with
more
that.
of a Bluetooth problem than anything. Yeah, it's just something about.
You know what I mean, though?
Oh yeah, just like things knowing what it has the priority here,
right?
And what should be sharing what, and I think it's a bigger problem. A new protocol would have to be developed to handle that more intelligently, I believe.
Right. That makes sense. Like to the point where we're not utilizing Bluetooth.
Right. Yeah. So like allegedly, people always are. The rumors have been with newer versions of AirPods, whenever that may be, is that it might eventually leave Bluetooth behind and maybe go to something that's more of like a Wi-Fi variant in some way. Okay. Just because it can be a little more intelligent. There, the problem would be like energy usage is significantly higher there, but just figuring out what that might be. There's different things.
Right. The more you know.
Now you know it all.
Bluetooth kind of sucks sometimes, though.
It does.
It's good. It's some things it's nice for, but
it is a lot of things it's pretty good for. A lot of things not so much. So, I have an ad on the floor back there, Tanner.
Oh,
that I got to get to. Do we
Go Gadget Arms?
Yeah, I know. Do we have one other one, or is that the last one?
I think what we have left is Texas Power Bars and Swiss Link.
Oh God! So I got both of them, and they're both back there. I hope they're both back there. Okay, I gotta go get them. I
finished my full What's in the Can, and I don't know if we rated it, but it was AHA Lime and Watermelon, and it is good. The AHA Lime and Watermelon is a top-notch sparkling water, I would say. I'm sure we've rated this before. I would struggle to give it anything less than a 4. A 4.0.
Well, yeah, there's lime in it. It almost automatically qualifies.
It is
for a
really
4
good,
no
though.
matter
It's
what.
very flavorful, too. If you are just wanting to dip your toes in the sparkling water game, a lime watermelon AHA would be a good
It's
place.
that gateway drug.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Today's show is brought to you by Texas Power Bars. Buddy Caps first started lifting weights in the late 60s and began powerlifting in the mid-70s. At the time, he was working for Image Barbell building gym equipment. Around 1976, a local machine shop started making Olympic bars for them, calling it the Image Bar. In 1977, Image Barbell became Champion Barbell. It was then that Buddy started looking at the bars with an intent of changing them for the better. In 1979, Buddy bought his first lathe to begin addressing the known issues. In 1980, his passion, drive, and purpose now had a greater mission. Buddy set out on his own to make what he believed was the greatest bar he'd ever seen and trained with, and the Texas Power Bar was born. It was strong as a house with the best knurling and was maintenance-free. Hundreds of state, national, international, world, and Massenomics powerlifting records have been and continue to be set and broken on the Texas Power Bar. To learn more about Texas Power Bars and buy one of their legendary bars, visit TexasPowerBars.com.
Don't mind if I do.
This episode is also brought to you by the fine folks at SwissLink. In 1995, Maurice Big Mo Huffman founded SwissLink. He had a partner based in Switzerland, and their mission was to bring authentic Swiss Army goods to the United States and into the hands of those yearning for quality gear at uncompromised prices. Over the years, that mission expanded to nations across Europe and beyond. Now, for nearly 3 decades, Big Mo has been traveling far and wide in search of the best items from military forces around the world. Big Mo doesn't only find authentic military clothing for SwissLink, he brings in everything you can imagine, from Czech Army bedpans to Italian champagne glasses. At SwissLink.com, you can find classic military surplus uniforms, a great selection of military-issue backpacks, tools, wool blankets, NATO fuel cans, gas masks, emergency food, first aid kits, survival packs, camping gear, and so much more. SwissLink's unrivaled collection and dedication to quality customer service sets them apart from the rest. Treat yourself to the real thing with authentic military surplus and save 15% off your first order from SwissLink.com with code MASS, M-A-S-S, at checkout. That's SwissLink, SWISSLINK.com. Not 3 S's, just 2.
Just 2.
I'm getting carried away over here.
Well, SSSSS. Someone just today shared that they bought something from SwissLink using discode Massenomics. What they bought was a wool blanket, and I showed it to my wife, and I'm like, don't you like these blankets that look exactly like this? And she's like, I love those blankets that look like this. And we pulled it up on the site, and she's like, that's a good price for that. And I said, yeah, that's a good price, but you know what's an even better price? That minus 15% with discount code. Is it Mass or Massenomics?
Mass.
Yeah, Mass. And she's like, that's a really good deal. And the person that bought it said, yeah, the same blanket was like $25 more at Duluth Trading Co. Like the identical blanket. So
get the real thing at SwissLink.com.
Yeah, so maybe if you're into wool blankets,
it's the season.
They have like 16 different patterns on their wool blankets too that I noticed.
Do it up.
Yeah, you can buy one of all 16. Imagine how if you bought 16, one of each, how much 15% could save you.
You're technically getting a blanket free at that point.
Oh, absolutely. Like it's like you can't afford not to do that.
No.
It'd be costing you money to not go do that.
Yeah. Yep. Someone go catch them all.
Yes. All right. SwissLink. And Jacob Ross was a man of his word. He already ordered something.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Did he use code MASS?
He did not, but because he did that, we can safely air this episode.
Okay.
We're going to ransom that over him. But now we will air it.
It's safe.
Do we have anything else we needed to hit on this week?
It's probably everything.
Buying our stuff. We still have a few Live Large tees in a few sizes, and the Pursuit of Strength tee, which was in our most recent drop. So check those out. Both bangers, I would say.
Yeah.
They're both bangers and mash.
I was just going to say that.
What is bangers and mash?
Is it like beans and toast or something like that?
Oh, British people.
Didn't we just figure this out not that long ago?
Bangers and mash? Is mash potatoes?
Also known as sausage and mash. It's a dish, British dish, consisting of sausages served with mashed potatoes.
Okay.
There goes me, just thinking everything British is beans.
Might as well be.
Sausage and mashed potatoes. I mean, I'd eat that.
Yeah, it wouldn't be like the first thing I'd pick off of a menu, but I would eat it.
Wouldn't be the last thing, wouldn't be the first. But
like, well, this is, I guess I didn't have to make it.
Yep. Sausage and potatoes. Okay, yeah, we can do that.
All right. Tommy, where do they find you at?
You can find me at Tomahawk_D.
You can find me at Tanner_Baird, but nobody cares about that. Just make sure to follow Massenomics at Massenomics.
See ya.